Hello, everyone. My name is Liz Fear, and welcome to Am Haskalah's High Holiday Services. We're very glad you're here with us on this truly unique Rosh Hashanah. I will be running the tech side of things, so feel free to reach out to me via chat if you have any questions or Zoom issues. Now, the chat button looks just like this, and you should see a message from me pop up now. To send a message to just myself, you want to click chat, then click on the word everyone and select my name from the drop-down menu. Feel free to test it out now. Due to Zoom limitations, we will all need to remain muted throughout unless called upon, but please sing along at home. The mute button is in the lower left corner of your screen and looks like this. Lastly, as we understand how taxing it is being in front of a computer for an extended period, please feel free to turn your camera off as needed to take breaks. The button to stop or start your video is next to the mute button and looks like this. Now I have the pleasure of introducing most of you to our new student rabbi, Armin. Originally hailing from Munich, Germany, he has worked as a prayer leader, Torah reader, and a teacher in Austria, Germany, Hungary, and Sweden. Currently, he is completing a doctorate in sociology, and he holds a master's and 2 bachelor's degrees in philosophy and Jewish studies. He has published 2 books, an anthology, and several articles on those matters, and has been working as a freelance lecturer. As he is one of Mordecai Kaplan's biggest fans, Armin came to study at the Reconstructionist Rabbinical College in Wyncote, PA, although he is much further away at the moment in Berlin until travel is possible again. But we hope to see him and all of you in person soon. And now, over to Armin.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Liz, and Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova, Erev Tov, to all of you. I'm so happy to see you all, see so many familiar faces by now, and also so many new faces. That's great. Thank you for joining us tonight. Before we would start the service, I would like to ask Gail to read us a text on her totes.
Thank you, Armin. This is on page 24 of our Siddur. This Rosh Hashanah, each of us enters this sanctuary with a different need. Some hearts are full of gratitude and joy. They are overflowing with the happiness of love and the joy of life. They are eager to confront the day, to make the world more fair. They are recovering from illness or have escaped misfortune, and we rejoice with them. Some hearts ache with sorrow. Disappointments weigh heavily upon them, and they have tasted despair. Families have been broken. Loved ones lie on a bed of pain. Death has taken those whom they cherished. May our presence and sympathy bring them comfort. Some hearts are embittered. They have sought answers in vain, have had their ideals mocked and betrayed. Life has lost its meaning and value. May the knowledge that we too are searching restore their hope that there is something to find. Some spirits hunger. They long for friendship. They crave understanding. They yearn for warmth. May we, in our common need, gain strength from one another, sharing our joys, lightening each other's burdens, and praying for the welfare of our community.
Thank you so much, Gail. I'm pretty sure that the author who wrote this poem, this text, didn't think of our current situation, but I would say that gaining strength from one another and praying for the welfare of our community is today, when we are physically distanced from each other, it's probably as relevant as ever before, if not more relevant. And that's why we are here tonight on Zoom. Even if it's not possible to meet in person, we will stick together and celebrate Rosh Hashanah together as a community. Thank you, Gail. We will continue now with the blessings for the Yom Tov and Shabbos candles on page 28 in the Machzor. I brought 2 candles. I hope you brought your own candles too. Feel free to say the blessings together with me, if possible, muted. Zoom can get a bit messy if everyone unmutes, but we can try it later. And for some reason, okay, now I can see it again. Great. So you can see the blessings on the screen and feel free to say them together with me. Baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat v'yom tov. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. We'll now continue with a psalm. The psalm is on page 44. And just like the reading before, it's absolutely fitting. The first line in the psalm says, Esa enai el harim me'ayin yavo esri. In English, I lift my eyes up to the hills. From where does my help come? This outcry feels very relevant. And Jeff was so kind to volunteer to sing us the song. Thank you so much, Jeff. We'll now continue with another psalm on page 52. We shall not forget that today is not only Rosh Hashanah, but also Shabbos. And Mehdi was so kind to sign up to sing this song. Please, Mehdi.
Mizmor shir liyom hashabbat, tov lehodot le'Adonai, u'samer l'shimcha elyon, u'samer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor shir liyom hashabbat, tov lehodot le'Adonai, u'samer l'shimcha elyon, u'samer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagid babo kerchastecha, Be'emunatecha b'leilot, alei hasor ve'aleina ve'lalei hidayon b'chinor. Mizmor shir liyom hashabbat, tov lehodot le'Adonai, u'samer l'shimcha elyon, u'samer l'shimcha elyon. כי שימחתני אדוני בחייך, במעשה ידיך מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Toda Rabba lach. Thank you so much, Maddie. That was great. We'll continue now with another psalm for Shabbos on page 56. And if you are reading the English translation or reading the Hebrew, I just want to make you aware of the verses that refer to creation itself. Rosh Hashanah, as you know, is the birthday of humanity. We are celebrating the creation of the earth and the creation of the human race, or the first human beings. And interestingly, the creation itself is a topic which keeps getting mentioned also in the liturgy for the Sabbath, as you can see in the following psalm. And Jane volunteered to read this psalm for us.
The eternal reigns, is clothed in majesty. The invisible is clothed, is girded up with might. The world is now established, it cannot give way. Your throne was long ago secured, beyond eternity are you. The rivers raise, O mighty one, the rivers raise a roaring sound. The floods raise up torrential waves, but louder than the sound of mighty waters, more exalted than the breakers of the sea. Raised up on high are you, the source. Your precepts have retained their truth, and holiness befits your house, the eternal one, forever and a day.
Thanks so much, Jane. We will now continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 58. And you don't have to rise up now, but if you feel like it, don't hold back. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה ועלמא דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו לילה לילה מכל ברכתה ושירת תושבחתה ונחמתה לאמירן בעלמה ואמרו Amen. Baruch on page 62. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach she'arim ubitbona meshan. You just turn too far. Okay. Wait, I have a master with me. בחוכמה פותח שערים וכתובה משניתים ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים במשפטיהם ברק יקיב צונו בורא יום ולילה גולה אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור. And now next page. Thank you. הבית ענני אדוני אלוהי, האיר עיני פן ישן המוות, גם חושך לא יחשיך ממך בלילה, כיום יאיר כחשיכה כאורה. ואתה שמע אלוהינו על תפילת עבדך, אל תחוננו נא. והאר פניך על מקדשך השמים למען אדוני, שלח אורך ועמיתך הם ינחוני, יביאוני אל חר קודשך ועל משכנותיך, כי עמך מקור חיים באורך נראה אור. We turn to 66. כי אתה תאיר נרי אדוני אלוהי יגיח חושקי, נר אדוני נשמת אדם, חופש כל הדרי בטן, כי הצלת נפשי ממוות, הלא רגלי מדחי, להתהלך לפני אלוהים באור החיים. הנקל אלה יפעל פעמיים שלוש יגבר, והשיב נפשו ממשחת לאור באור החיים. ומעביד יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים. We'll now continue on page 71 with Ahavat Olam, and Rachel volunteered to read that for us in English.
Unfortunately, Rachel is still driving, so I'm
Oh.
going to take that one for her.
Yeah, she shouldn't read if she's driving.
With everlasting love, you love the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and justice you have taught us. And so, dear one, our God, when we lie down and when we rise, we reflect upon your laws. We take pleasure in your Torah's words and your mitzvot, now and always. Truly, they are our life, our length of days. On them we meditate by day and by night. The eternal is my light and help. Whom shall I fear? Bless, O my soul, the bountiful. Eternal one, my God, magnificent are you. In glory and in splendor you are clothed. You spread your light out like a garment, stretching out the heavens like exquisite drapery. Your word a lamp before my feet, your light establishing my path. The teachings of the fount of wisdom are just. They make the heart rejoice. The mitzvah of the lawgiver is pure. It gives light to the eyes. For truly, mitzvah is a lamp and Torah light. Your love will never depart from us as long as worlds endure. Blessed are you, beloved one, who loves your people Israel.
Thank you so much, Liz. And safe trip, Rachel. Okay, we'll now continue with the Shema. The Shema begins on page 75 and will end on page 84 in the Machzor. And we'll do the beginning and the end together, and the rest each for themselves. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. והיה אם שמוע תשמעו את שמך היום. I will finish the reading on page 84. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ועשו להם ציצית הכף בבגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו הציצית הכנף בתיר תכלת והיה לכם לציצית וראיתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם לא תטורו אחרי לבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריכם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We'll now continue on page 90, yeah, מי כמוך. משה ומרים ובני ישראל ובנות ישראל לך אנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף מלכותך ראו בניך, פוקע ים לפני משה, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כיפד אדוני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל. We'll now continue with Hashkivenu on page 92, and we'll listen to Jeff singing the song for us. where are you? I don't think you should put away the guitar. Now we are going to listen to you singing Veshamru on page 96, and we will all sing with you in our own rooms. Muted.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, עשות את השבת לתורתם ברית עולם. לא לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, עשות את השבת לתורתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת בי נפש, שבת בי נפש, שבת בי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I can't wait to be in one room with all of you and to sing this song and to, sing all the other songs. It will be fun. I have a good feeling about this. Thank you. We'll now continue with the Amidah, but before we will do that, before we will do the silent Amidah, we'll read the text on page 96. תיקעו בחודש שופר בכסה ליום הגנו, כי חוק לישראל הוא משפט לאלוהי יעקב. Blast piercing notes upon the shofar for the new moon, for the full moon, for our festive holiday, for it is Israel's law, a statute of the God of Jacob. And as you know, or might know, we're actually not sounding the shofar on the first day of Rosh Hashanah because it's a Sabbath, and there is a custom not to sound the shofar on a Sabbath, and yet we are remembering the sound of the shofar, and this piece of literature, what we just read, is exactly part of remembering the sound of the shofar. And we will sound the shofar on the second day of Rosh Hashanah and on Yom Kippur, so hope to see you all then again, and then we can sound the shofar together. But for now, we are remembering it. We'll now turn to page 103 for the Amidah. Since this is an evening service, we are not gonna say this together. Everyone is invited to read the Amidah for themselves or to think about their past year, their coming year. There are many ways to pray, not only the ones that are prescribed or recommended by our Maxor. So we'll meet each other again at Ose Shalom on page 126. And now please take your time to read the Amidah or whatever you feel like doing. I would suggest to continue the service with Ose Shalom. You can find Ose Shalom on page 126. And Mehdi was so nice to lead us. So we'll sing along.
Ose Shalom Biroma, Huyase Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru, Amen. Ose Shalom Biroma, Huyase Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru, Amen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ose Shalom Biroma, Uyase Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru, Amen. Ose Shalom Biroma, Uyase Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru, Amen.
Thanks so much, Mehdi. This is great. We will now say Misha Berach, prayer for healing for those who are in need for healing. When we are saying this prayer, we are thinking of Risa Dorfman, Susan Patrick, Doug Smith, Anita Goldman, Henry Loftman, Jacqueline Panic, Samuel Meslin, Larry Rosenblum, Seth Purr, and Susan Fleur. And if you want to add any more names, feel free to unmute yourself or type the names in the chat box. Misha Berach Avotenu ve'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak ve'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel ve'Leah. Hu yevarech et hacholim. Hakadosh Baruch Hu yemale rachamim aleihem, lehachalimam ulrofotam ulhachazikam ulhachayotam. Ve'ishlach lachem mehera refuah shlema min hashamayim, refuat hanefesh urefuat haguf, hashta'a ba'agala ubizman kariv, v'nomar amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say amen. We'll now listen to a sermon I pre-recorded so I can sit down for 5 minutes. It's a short sermon and we are still good in time, so I would encourage you to just type your ideas or thoughts or questions or anything that's on your mind in the chat box, so we can maybe discuss those issues raised later on. Shana Tova, Shabbat Shalom. I hope you are all doing well and keeping safe. This hasn't been an easy year. I mean, the very fact itself that we are having high holiday services on Zoom is already pretty telling that something is unusual. And we gather today and tomorrow and the next couple of days to celebrate the beginning of the world, to celebrate the birth of our earth and the creation of the first human beings. But as I'm reading the papers and looking out of my window, I wonder, what is there to celebrate on this earth? What is so great about humanity? Like, just take a look at what's happening on the West Coast right now. The sky is literally orange because of us, because of climate change that we are responsible for. Look at the protests for racial, social justice in the US and also in other countries, which are threatened by far-right counter-protesters, which are confronted by police violence. And not to mention, there's a pandemic going on all around the globe. Each day, thousands of people die, especially working class people and people of color, and the elderly, who are more vulnerable and threatened by this virus. And the end of the pandemic is still far ahead of us. So what is there to celebrate about the earth and the creation of human? And as I was preparing for the Rosh Hashanah services, I was reading the prayer, Hayom Harat Olam. We are going to read that tomorrow morning together, because I assume that all of you will be there. And Hayom Harat Olam is usually translated as today the earth is born. And that's something to be joyful about, I guess. But if we do some Hebrew grammar, and we'll do Hebrew grammar because Hebrew grammar is great, we can see actually that the verb harat could be translated as being pregnant. So the earth is pregnant today. And if we do translate it like that, the sentence Hayom Harat Olam is not really anymore about the result, about the final outcoming, but about the process. And I do believe that a process is something we can celebrate, a process of renewal, and being born again. That's something to celebrate. And we get a second chance. We get a chance to renew ourselves. We get a chance to renew our environment, our surroundings, our community, and to renew our world, to create a better version of ourselves, to create a better version of our communities, of the whole planet. And sincerely hope that we'll manage to find answers this coming year, how to involve ourselves in this process of renewal, how to create a society and an environment that is more just. And in this sense, I wish you all a better new year. And yeah, thank you for listening, and I look forward to the discussion. Shana Tova and Shabbat Shalom. Okay, thank you all for listening. I would be interested to hear your thoughts too. Maybe not right now, but we can speak after the service or another time. Feel free to reach out, or let me know if you want to speak about these issues. We will now continue with the Kiddush. Let me get my bottle of wine, just a second.
I say everyone should feel free to go for wine.
The Kiddush is on page, 1189. And if you have a bottle and cup and wine, please say the blessing together with me. And even if you don't have it, feel free to do that. Tzavri Chavarai, Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Borei Peri Hagafen. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Karanu La'avodato Veromamanu Bikdushato Vekidashanu B'mitzvotav. ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה את יום השבת הזה ואת יום הזיכרון הזה, יום זיכרון תרועה באהבה. מקרא קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי אלינו קראת ואותנו קידשת לעבודתך, ודברך אמת וקיים לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש השבת וישראל ויום הזיכרון. We'll now turn a page to 1200 and say the Shechecheyanu together. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shechecheyanu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh. L'chaim. We will now continue our service with the Aleinu on page 1202. Again, feel free to rise, but don't, no one has to rise. It's up to you. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שנתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגופי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אנוש, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אנוש. על כן נקווה לך אדוני אלוהינו לראות מהרה מתפארת עוזך להרים גאולה. כי מלכות שכח עיר לעלמי תמלוך ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. We'll now turn to page 1215 to the mourner's Kaddish. In reciting the Kaddish, we affirm our awareness of holiness in our world. Much of our experience of divine goodness, grace, and love has come to us through those whose lives have touched our own. We invoke the transcendent power of love and caring as we sanctify God's name. Today, we remember Ida Molik, grandmother of Helen and Lynn Molik, who has her yahrzeit this week on the 3rd of Tishrei, on the 21st of September. If you want to name someone else whom you are mourning, feel free to type the name in the chat box or unmute yourself. Okay. Please join me in saying the Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקדושה בריחו. לעילה, מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רב אמין שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. We'll now continue with Adon Olam, and we'll listen to Jeff playing Adon Olam. You can find Adon Olam on page 1224. It's already on the screen. Cool.
Ready? Traditional tune. Adon Olam, Hashem Olam, Terech Koyetzeh, Adon Olam.
Thank you so much. That was great. Thank you all for coming and joining us and leading parts of the service. And I mean, Liz, thank you for everything you did tonight with sharing the screen and managing the Maxor. It's like, wow, I cannot even express it. We'll talk about that later. And thank you all for being here. This is not easy. It's far from ideal. I don't have to tell you that. So I think it's even better and nicer. And yeah, I feel hugged by all of you, even if you don't want to hug me. I feel hugged just by you being here, and that's great. So thank you so much. I was thinking if we are already on Zoom, maybe we can play a bit with the chat box. I would encourage you to type Shana Tova, Shabbat Shalom, good evening, or whatever else, good Yantev in the chat box. And thank you again for being here, and hope to see you all tomorrow morning.
And tomorrow morning, we'll be getting started at 10 a.m. Same Zoom link.